Alright, so let's do this. This is going to be the first video in a series where I'm going to be reviewing and auditing from an SEO standpoint a bunch of different websites on the internet with the goal of showing you different SEO growth opportunities. So if you're an e-commerce store owner, this type of video may come to be very useful or interesting to you. In today's video, I'm gonna focus on one specific website in the metal detectors niche, and I'm going to try and outline 5 quick wins. And before I start, I just want to make a clear disclaimer that I don't know much about this website, and there is so much more to do when it comes to SEO. So I'm just gonna focus on a couple of quick things that can be done within a week or a couple of weeks that have a significant potential in increasing this website's traffic and therefore their store revenue. I also don't know the owners behind this website. They did not request anything like this. They're not my client. I don't have access to any first-party data. I don't have access to their search console, to their analytics or anything like that. So I know very little about them. All I did was spend maybe like 20-30 minutes prior to hitting the record here just going through the website and finding some of the issues, which in this case were fairly easy to find just because this is a website on Shopify, and a bunch of these quick wins and opportunities that I want to outline today are quite common on Shopify, so this is not a surprise to most people who focus on Shopify SEO, but if you are an e-commerce store owner or marketer working for a Shopify store, this might actually be super useful to you. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to show you here would be just the overall stats of the website. So the website name, Modern Metal Detectors. It's pretty obvious the niche, right? As I said, I have no access to any first-party data, so we are going to be using Ahrefs to just give us some sort of estimations on, how is the search traffic for this particular website. So we can see they're ranking for about 700 keywords. And if you look down below, we can see that the organic positions are definitely on a downwards organic trend, which is bad because it's been like that for the last 2 years, which kind of signals that Google is not, giving enough trust to this website. Traffic is also down right now. Ahrefs is showing about 2.3 thousand in organic traffic. I'm gonna assume these numbers are actually higher if we take a look at the search console, but obviously can't be 100% certain about that. So let's dive into the one of the first issues that I wanted to discuss, or like one of the first opportunities for this particular website. So what I can notice quite quickly, just by going through the website and into the product pages specifically. And what I can notice, and you can notice even without any of the tools, but for this particular issue, it would be also pretty good if you can crawl the entire website, and I'm not gonna explain why. But if you go to any of the product pages and take a look at the URL at the top, you're gonna see obviously the domain name, which is normal. Then Shopify says it's collections, and then the collection name, products, and then the product name. Obviously the URL is a little bit longer, which is not necessarily ideal, but not a big problem, and not something I would focus on. But from my experience working with Shopify stores, I can kind of quickly see that this is going to be an issue even without diving deeper into the crawl. So why is this an issue here, and why am I showing you this? So I'm gonna explain how SEO on Shopify works when you're creating a product. So when you want to create a product, let's say this particular one, you're gonna add all of your details, and you're gonna be like, this is Garrett ACE 400 metal detector, whatever, right? And you're gonna get a URL for that product, and that URL is gonna live on this particular place. So as you can see, once you create a product on Shopify, you're gonna have this URL, like website name, product/product name, right? Which is how it's supposed to be. And then once you assign that product to a particular collection on Shopify, Shopify is going to create a new URL. So for example, they assign Garrett AC 400 metal detector to one of the collections under the name beginner metal detectors. And what can we see is that Shopify created another URL. So what you effectively have, and you can see like if I switch between these two pages, it's exactly the same content, right? So this same content lives at two different URLs, and you can kind of guess that's not a good idea because Google's gonna get confused on which one to rank. And the extent of this issue is the bigger problem because, you know, as you keep assigning the same product to like multiple different collections, you're gonna get a custom specific URL for each of those. So if you assign one product to like 5, 6, or 10 different collections, you're gonna have 5, 6, or 10 different URLs for the same product holding exactly the same information. Now, granted, Shopify is trying to resolve this in a particular way, which I don't agree with. I think the first issue is that all of these are indexable, right? So as soon as you assign it to a collection, it creates a URL. That URL is indexable, which means that Google might decide to index and rank that URL. The way that they're trying to solve this is by applying a canonical to the original page or the original URL in this case. So what is a canonical? Canonical is essentially a hint to Google on where you think the original content lives on the website, or you're trying to signal to Google, hey, this is where the original content lives. You should absolutely ignore this page. And the problem with that people kind of make is that they assume that the canonical is a directive and a rule when it's not. It's just a hint. So it's not preventing Google from actually indexing this website. Obviously, it doesn't prevent it from crawling the website. It doesn't prevent it from indexing it, and therefore it doesn't prevent it from actually ranking this page. So once you assign a particular product to multiple collections, you effectively have multiple URLs trying to rank for the same keyword or the same product name. And if you know anything about SEO, we know that that's not gonna work out well. And if you go into Ahrefs, we can kind of see the proof of this, right? So I'm just gonna say product in here. So we're gonna get a mix, and you can clearly see like a mix of pages where a particular page that lives under collections is ranking, but you also have like the individual products that are ranking. So you can kind of clearly see that this is not an ideal setup because Google's gonna decide differently based on a different product, and you're gonna have issues trying to rank the right page, and you're gonna have multiple pages trying to rank for the same keyword as I mentioned, right? So what is the solution here? The solution here is quite simple. You need to start blocking Shopify from creating all of these pages. So it never actually ends up creating it as soon as you add it into a collection. The other part of the fix is to stop actually linking out to any of those URLs. As you can see, like if I'm on collection page, I click on any product, it's gonna lead to the specific collection page, right? And we want it to link to the original URL. So we want to prevent Shopify from ever creating these pages, and we do not want any sort of internal links from anywhere on the website linking to that. So in the case of this particular store, this is what I would do, and then I would also apply all of the 301 redirects from currently created product pages under collections to make sure that they're all being sent to the original one. And that would be essentially quite an easy fix. When I crawled this website, I saw they have like 3,000, 4,000 URLs when they actually have a couple of hundred different products, which means that they have 5, 6, maybe 7 times more URLs on the website than they actually need, right? So this is the type of win that I call win by subtraction, not by addition. You're actually gonna do really well just by blocking a couple of different things, changing a couple of small things inside of your Shopify theme, and the end result is gonna be a better ranking, right? And I like this type of SEO recommendations and SEO opportunities because it doesn't require you to build anything new, right? It doesn't require you to put up new products, to put up new pages, right? It's a quick and easy fix that belongs to the group of technical SEO fixes. This is it for the opportunity number 1. Okay, so the opportunity number 2 is quite similar to the number 1, and it's a win by subtraction, not by addition. It's another opportunity that it's quite easy to spot just by going through the website. So as I was clicking through, I noticed that all of their collection pages have this parameter attached to the URL at the top. And I can immediately tell you this is an issue because this is not actually blocked inside of robots.txt. We can open it up. In there, it's quite easy to see like what are the type of things that are blocked and what are the type of things that are not blocked. So they have like all of these sort by is blocked, the usual Shopify stuff, some of the blog stuff, and similar, which is a pretty basic Shopify setup. And I can immediately tell you that this is going to be an issue because they are unaware of it, and I can tell you that they are not aware of that because they are internally linking to these parameter URLs. So again, how can we confirm this is an issue? If you actually see in here, we can tell that this URL is being indexable and crawlable, which means that Google is going to waste resources crawling this URL. And again, we have a canonical applied to the original URL, which is essentially the same thing or similar thing to the opportunity number one, which is, you're creating confusion on your website. You're creating a lot of URLs for essentially the same type of pages. Again, this one and this one look exactly the same, only that this one is actually has a parameter attached to it. It's the one that's being internally linked, specifically from the menu, quite possibly from other pages on the website. And if we use any of this filtering that you can see here, you can see that the parameter is going to change and the situation is going to be the same. This is again an indexable URL. Again, it's being canonicalized to the original URL, and it's the same type of issue. And if you want to confirm that, you can also go into Ahrefs, and let's just do this and see if any of these are actually being ranked right now. And you can see the proof of this being the issue, right? So if you open any of these, you're gonna see that these are not regular URLs, which means that Google doesn't know that they're not supposed to be ranking something like this, because you're obviously telling them to crawl it, index it, and they're gonna choose whether they're gonna rank the original one, or which is this one, or they're gonna rank the one with the parameter attached to them. In this case, they obviously choose the parameter one, which is a problem. And there is no reason, even if you got 0 results here, this will still be a problem, because Google's gonna waste a lot of resources crawling and indexing things that do not serve any sort of purpose, right? They're just wasting resources. So that's again, that's pretty easy to fix. I'm not saying to remove any of the filters that you can see here. That's actually pretty useful on most e-commerce websites. I'm only saying that you need to find a way through robots.txt to stop Google from crawling any of these, and then also make sure that you actually remove all of these from the index, and finally you're gonna need to start internal linking to the original one. So doing all of those 3 things are gonna allow Google to see like this is the original URL that we need to rank, and this is what it's all about. So this is pretty much the opportunity number 2. So let's move on to opportunity number 3. Opportunity number 3 is also another win that is subtraction, a win by subtraction, not by addition, same as the first 2. And the reason why I'm doing these is because they are usually the quickest wins, because again, they do not require so many resources. It doesn't require creating anything new or finding a way to do that. It just requires actually using what is there and removing the excess to allow what is there to rank better, right? And for this particular one, this is slightly different because it's gonna be about reordering some of the stuff. So as I was clicking through different collection pages and just looking at the overall site architecture, I kind of noticed that they are linking a lot towards from their menu towards a bunch of pages that I would not necessarily be putting there. So if we try to analyze this, we can see that all of these collection pages kind of make sense, right? They are quite possibly the biggest earners and the biggest opportunities really lies on these pages, right? So we do not want to change anything there. Brands, same as the category here, like that makes sense. You definitely want to rank for all the brand related keywords in this particular niche. That's all good. Accessories, this is where we kind of get into the murky waters. We are not sure if all of these necessarily have enough of a search opportunity to warrant being put into the menu, because, and I didn't explain this, one of the reasons why I'm mentioning that this could be a big win for them, and it's quite easy to do, is because the menu at the top as well as the homepage, they're like prime placement when it comes to site architecture and internal linking, because one, menu is being used on every page on the website, which means that the links that come from the menu are going to be quite important. As for the homepage tends to be the most important page on your website because it's crawled the most often and it usually has the most link authority and link juice, and you want to kind of be aware of like where that link juice is being sent to and so on. So let me get back to this. So accessories, we can kind of make adjustments here, although that would require some additional keyword research to figure out if any of these do deserve to be put in the menu. But I can tell, like from the top, books is probably not a good idea. And we can kind of see that this is a pretty thin page, doesn't do much. So it definitely doesn't deserve its own place inside of the menu. But what I really wanted to talk about is putting all of your blog pages and all of your customer service pages in your main menu at the top. Now, why is this an issue? This is an issue because, as I mentioned, you want only your most important pages on your website inside of the menu, because this menu is being used across the website, and through the menu you're kind of signaling to Google what are the most important pages on your website. They also get the highest number of internal links and so on. So what you're saying what you're saying to Google here is that these buying guides are just as important as all of these metal detectors and brands collection pages. And that can be it, right? Because on every e-commerce website, we know that the collection pages and the product pages are actually the most important pages, right? And this is the sort of like defense that I keep hearing from different e-commerce store owners, where they're saying like, all of these pages are important, all of these pages matter. And they're right, they all matter, right? Because you wouldn't be putting up a page that you would say, well, this is bullshit, we don't need this, right? You obviously do, you do find these important, but they are not as important as some other pages, and that's the critical difference. So in this particular case, I would ensure that these are being removed from the menu at the top. Same as all of these. These can exist and already do exist in the menu here, and I think also exist at a footer down below. So this is obviously, so many internal links going to, customer service pages and buying guides and blogs in general, and they are not deserving of that many internal links. They're just not that important. And what we are signaling to Google is that they are, and we can kind of see that Google is kind of taking notice of that, because what is ranking well for their website most often is like, they do have collection pages there, but they also have blogs, right? In the top 10, they have at least 5 or 6 pages that are blog related pages, and they are just not gonna drive the revenue that collection and product pages will drive. So in this particular case, we want to kind of demote these pages by removing them from the menu. And you can also clearly see this on the home page as well. They are linking to their metal detecting articles. I would definitely remove that from the home page, just because we do not need this. And someone might say, well, they are still important if you're not linking to them from the homepage and you're not linking to them from the menu. Like, how are the readers supposed to find it? Or like, are they that not important. No, I'm just saying you can leave this learning community link, and that should be your link to your blog pages, all of them, like a blog archive, and just remove individual links to all of the ones that you published on the website, like in the history, right? So if you remove here, this is going to be your blog archive page. So this is the one that you want to link to from the menu. And you're effectively gonna be removing all of the blog pages from being like one click away from the homepage, because they are not important enough to be one click away from the homepage. And what I would do additionally here is, obviously I would try and put up a custom page here where I can kind of manipulate which articles do I want to be shown on the main blog/news page, where I can choose the most important ones instead of them being ordered by what is being published latest, right? Going back to the homepage, a couple more opportunities. They do not seem to be linking to a lot of their collection pages from their homepage. For example, in here, that would be an easy win. They're already mentioning metal detector products, or like gold metal detectors, right? They could just have a small button here that says show all, which could link to all of the products, or in other words, the actual gold metal detectors collection page, right? So another quick win, because right now they're just pushing links towards products and towards articles down below. They do have a couple of collections. I'm sorry about that. I just noticed this. I think all of these kind of belong in the accessories, and they are less important than their most important pages. So I hope this makes sense. This is the issue number 3, or the opportunity number 3 that I wanted to outline. So let's move on. All right, so opportunity number 4 is about internal linking. We talked a bit about this, but just by looking at the menu, like how does that link juice flows through the website? How is this being internal linked, and so on? And I was kind of on the fence on whether I want to include any internal linking in this particular video, because it can often be that it's not a really quick win, but it can be, and I still decided to do it. So how can this website do better internal linking beyond what I just described by doing better internal linking from menu and homepage? So the way they can do it is by trying to figure out how they can implement internal linking strategies at scale. And this is very powerful for e-commerce stores, especially those who have like thousands or tens of thousands or even more products and have a lot of collection pages. Like, this is where we often kind of see orphan pages, meaning pages that don't have any internal links, because it is so hard to make sure that you're internally linking to all of these, right? So a couple of things that you can do at a scale that I noticed they're not doing right now. So if I go into any of the product pages right now, an easy and quick win would be to add a related product section somewhere on the website. It can be below the product descriptions here, which is a little bit too long, but nevertheless, or it can be here as well. And you can just add like 5, 6, 7 different internal links to other product pages, and you're gonna immediately start improving the internal linking of your website at a scale, because these elements that you add in here, right, they're gonna be immediately applied to every product page in your website. And you can even like mathematically decide like which pages link to which pages at a scale, right? So ensure that all of your product pages are getting the same number of internal links from other pages, right? So if you add like 7 different internal links, you can do that on every page. This is the blog one. You can do this on every product page and ensure that they are linking to 7 different products that the past page didn't link, right? And so on. So you kind of try to figure out a system where all of the product pages are getting internal links from other product pages, right? And once you build this module and you build the logic behind it, you can scale this across your entire website, and it still makes it pretty easy, where you do not have to go into each individual page and try to set up internal links, or like figure out like how can you add links to other pages on your website. Another easy win would be, particularly on the product pages, would be to start linking out to brands. So we know that they have breadcrumbs here, which is this little element here that links out to the collection page where you came from, which is good because that gives you a quick and easy internal link towards the collection page, right? So you're linking upstream. But another way would be to link to the brands, right? So this particular product is a MindLab Gold Monster. We know that I have MindLab in here. Here it is. So what could I do here? Like, for example, below SKU, they can just say brand and then add a mention of what the brand is, in this case MindLab, and then internal link towards that brand, which allows users to actually go to the branded collection page and see all of the products that they are selling from that particular brand. And this is another module that you can apply at a scale, like across all of your product pages. Just map everything out in advance and implement it into Shopify to have all of the internal links towards your brand pages. Another thing that I don't see many e-commerce stores applying is linking horizontally, like between the collection pages, right? We can usually see that internal linking and site architecture go like downstream and sometimes upstream. Downstream meaning like you have the home page, then you have the collection page, and then from the collection page you have the product pages, which means you go downstream. You can also go upstream, like with the example of the breadcrumbs, the example I just gave of the brands and so on. But again, I don't see too many e-commerce stores actually linking horizontally, which means like from one collection page to another collection page. And my rule of thumb is that if it's relevant, more internal links tends to be better, right? Because it just helps Google crawl pages, it helps Google discover pages, it helps Google index and rank pages. So there is very little reason not to implement as many internal links as long as they're relevant. So a way to do that on the collection pages would be to build out a module. Again, I keep saying modules because I want to give you the idea that you can do this at a scale and not do this on every individual page by itself, because if you have thousands of pages, like in this case, or in the case of most e-commerce stores where you have a lot of pages, it's a lot of manual work having to go and edit each individual page and figure out where you can link to other page, right? So building a module here would be to add something that says like related categories or like related products, maybe even, although categories sound better, and then just add a couple of different buttons with internal links towards what is relevant, right? So if, for example, if you do gold metal detectors page, you can say related categories and then link to something like gemstone detectors because they're quite similar. Marine could link to underwater, right? So you're keeping it very similar, very relevant, and you're also improving both of these pages at once. So this is another module. Again, you can map this out up front before you actually start implementing it, and then just roll it out site-wide. Okay, so this is the final opportunity. I'm gonna try to keep this one pretty short because I think this video is already 30 minutes long prior to the edit, so I'm hopefully gonna cut this down and I don't bore you too much. The final fifth opportunity here would be pretty basic, but again, I'm adding it as a quick win because I think AI makes this part of the job pretty easy. And it's again some of the editing that happens at a site-wide level. Just by changing a line of code within a theme, you can improve essentially everything here. So one thing that I've noticed is that none of their collection pages have any like H1s that are like main descriptive tag of the page and tells Google what the page is about. And in general, they haven't really focused a lot on the main SEO elements of the page. So things like H1s, like they do not exist. Page titles and things like that are decent. They do have meta descriptions, that's fine. Although, like if you even look at these sort of elements, you can kind of see that they are not necessarily ideal. Same happens on the actual product pages. They do not have H1s either. This requires just changing one line of coding inside of theme in order to improve all of the pages on the website. And it's also like one of those things that it's now pretty easy to do with AI. Is like you can write better descriptions in here. You can write better titles. You can write all of that. Like for example, we can see like this is not necessarily ideal. This definitely like gold metal detectors for sale and then modern metal detectors. I'm gonna bet this is a keyword that doesn't belong on this page. And this is something that's pretty easy to do now. So this is why I'm including it as number 5. Basic SEO elements, although not necessarily always that impactful. They're basic and foundational for a reason. I think there is no good reason not to do this well, especially now because you can leverage AI. And this is where AI is kind of good because it can give you these little snippets that make sense and that you can do at a scale without actually investing a lot of time. So this is it for the opportunity number 5. All right, this is the end of the video. So this is gonna be it for this one. Again, I just wanna point out that this is not obviously all. This is just a couple of things that I managed to find, like 20 minutes of auditing and crawling the website. There's so much more here to do. I just also want to mention that my idea here is not to put down anybody, to criticize anybody or anybody's work for that matter. It's only to help you actually realize some of the SEO growth opportunities that are there and quick to implement. I'm genuinely impressed when I see anyone putting up a website these days and doing good work. And I think guys behind this website did a pretty good work on a bunch of different stuff. So kudos to them. If you're an e-commerce store owner, I hope you got some of the good SEO ideas from this video. If you want more, you can see a link to my website, windowsearch.com, in the description. You can also order one of these audits privately, not publicly, for just $50. If you want me to spend like an hour on your website and just find like 5 different revenue growth opportunities that are related to SEO specifically. I also have a couple different offers on the website, so make sure you check it out. And yeah, this is it for this video. Sorry if this was too long. I'm pretty sure I bored you to death. I have pretty long-winded way of answering everything here, or like ensuring that I mention everything that's relevant, because SEO is quite nuanced. So I just want to make sure that everyone kind of gets the main idea. So this is it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.